into another episode of Fred First. This is a series of informal webinars where we just discuss everything that Fred can offer you. And I'm very excited because today we are chatting about Amadeus River Cruises. Now, we are the UK representatives for Amadeus River Cruises. It's an amazing company, an amazing fleet of ships, so I'm very excited to talk about it. And to join me today, we are very, very lucky to have Brooke with us. Now, Brooke is a member of our business development team, and basically very few people in this business know as much about Amadeus as Brooke does. So thank you for joining us, Brooke.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Wade. Hopefully I'll do myself justice here and give you all the information you need to know. But yes, I have worked in the river cruise industry for over 13 years now, but specifically with Amadeus for about 9 of those years. So I do know the product very well. I've been lucky enough to see and experience the product firsthand. I've seen numerous ships. So yeah, I will do my best to get that information over to you and help you all in your journey selling Amadeus River Cruises.
Fantastic. They are such beautiful ships, and by watching this, everyone, I'm sure you'll agree afterwards after seeing some of these images, they're absolutely stunning, both inside and out. And it's an amazing product. So I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah, thank you, Wade. So I'll start by telling you a little bit about what makes Amadeus unique, because as you well know, there are a whole host of European river cruise operators operating similar itineraries, and it can be quite difficult to understand where to place your clients and what makes each operator different. So first and foremost, Amadeus is still a family-run company. So the Lufthansa family are still at the very heart of everything that we do. And with that, we have over 40 years of experience on the European waterways. We have a fleet of one of the most young kind of modern fleet. So every year they're bringing new ships into their fleet. They are 5-star, really luxurious ships. So in terms of the hardware and the onboard experience, customers are getting quite premium onboard experience. Now, with the importance of food and hospitality in Austrian culture, I would say that culinary excellence has always been a centerpiece for Amadeus. That is something that they really pride themselves on, and that certainly comes across in the experience on board when it comes to the food and dining.
Anytime I speak to anyone from our company who's come back from a fam trip or a ship visit, the food is always the thing that gets kind of brought up first.
Absolutely.
I want to know more about the ship, but all I hear about is the amazing beef and chicken and all sorts. Yeah.
Hard not to make it a focal point, because they really do it brilliantly, and often you'll come back from your cruise a little bit heavier than when you went on.
Well, it's part of the fun.
Exactly. It's what holiday's for. Something else that I think is pretty unique when it comes to the Amadeus product is our shore excursion program and how we have a tailored approach to our excursion. So typically, you might find that most river cruise operators just include all of the excursions whether clients want to do them or not. What we do is guests only book and pay for the excursions they actually want to do, and it means they can completely tailor their itinerary day by day. And it also means there can be days where they choose perhaps to not have excursions. So therefore they're saving there because they wouldn't be paying for them whether they're going on it or not. And the reason that might be of interest to customers is because with river cruising, you're often moored up in the city centre of a destination. So there is the opportunity for independent travelling and exploration. You know, you can go off on foot or on bike. On one of the bicycles we have on board, or maybe it's because you have visited one of the destinations on the itinerary and therefore you're not interested in the half-day city tour because you've actually seen quite a lot of the city and you want to do something a bit different, delve into it in a different way. And yeah, our excursion packages allow guests to completely tailor that to their needs. So I really like that element.
I find that really interesting myself. I must admit, when first starting and first learning about Amadeus, when I saw excursions weren't included, at first you think, oh, that's quite an odd thing. It's not quite a selling point. But actually, when you think about it, it does make perfect sense, because not everyone wants to be trolleyed out day after day following the red clipboard kind of thing. It's great that it gives people the complete freedom to do what they actually want to do, which is obviously the kind of Fred Holidays ethos in general.
Yeah,
it works beautifully with Amadeus.
Absolutely. It really goes with that tailor-made side of things, which is what we do. And again, that ties into the next point that I was going to mention about being real loads of possibilities with regards to regional flight options. So we have access to pretty much any and every airline and routing. So if you've got guests wanting to come from somewhere other than London, we absolutely can look at that. And if the schedule is there, we will be able to offer it to your clients. So with a lot of our itineraries, your guests can pick up from their local airport, and also rail, I should mention. A lot of these European itineraries are really easy to do by rail. Obviously, you've got the French rivers, you've got the Dutch and Belgian waterways, even the Rhine. That is something more clients are choosing to do by rail. So some great options when it comes to getting your clients to the cruise itself. All of the main European rivers that you probably know a little bit about. So you've got the Main, the Rhine, and Moselle. We do the Danube, and that includes the lower Danube right down to the Danube Delta, which is quite unique as well. Not everyone actually goes on all that way down, and we have tours that feature on the Danube Delta, so that's really nice. We have the Rhone and Saône in the south of France. We have the Seine, and we have the Saar and the Dutch and Belgian waterways as well. So this map gives you just a little kind of insight into the types of journeys that we do. So I'll start at the top with the Tulip Serenade. This is our Dutch and Belgian waterways itinerary, which is 7 nights Amsterdam round trip. So again, that's one that I mentioned with regards to rail that's really easily to access by Eurostar, as well as the Seine, which is a 7-night Paris round trip. So again, you've just got many options with regards to your clients travelling there. The Rhone and Saône is a Lyon round trip. That's again 7 nights, and we have Classical Rhine, which you can do in either direction, Amsterdam to Basel or Basel to Amsterdam. And on the Danube, we have numerous itineraries. All of the Upper Danube cruises are 7 nights, and they're either Passau round trips or they might start or finish in Budapest. And we also then have the Lower Danube cruises, which are slightly longer, 9, 10 nights or more. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the onboard experience and, what your clients can expect in terms of the service levels and the hardware on board. So here I just wanted to give an overview of some of the internal cabin shots, because again, with river cruise ships, you can understand that all of the ships are very similar size and layout, and it can feel quite difficult to again differentiate between the operators. I would like to think that what Amadeus offer is kind of a 5-star experience, and I've put an image here of all of our categories, so that you can see that even the bottom left image is one of our leading category of cabins, which we describe as a panoramic window. So it's still letting quite a lot of light in, and although most guests want at least a French balcony or drop-down panoramic window, which is the middle image, you can still confidently sell that to a customer. The layout is very similar from a comfort level point of view. It's still really nice for the entry level. And then the middle image, we have 2 styles on all of our newer vessels. It's a drop-down panoramic window. So from that image, you can see that top half would be completely open, should your clients want to open that up. Or we do have, on 2 of our ships, we do still have the French balcony styles that kind of slide open like a French door. And then this is an example image of a suite on the top left, where you can see you actually have a step-out balcony, as well as an internal sitting area. You do have that. They're the only categories that will have an actual outside balcony. But I would definitely say the most popular are the French balcony categories, because you can imagine just sitting there with a drink in hand, sailing along, and getting all those beautiful floor to ceiling views out of your window really is quite something.
Well, it's absolutely the kind of selling point of river cruising in general, isn't it? How amazing it is to be able to sit there at that balcony and go straight through the hearts of these villages and kind of coastlines, etc., and just be able to really experience it up close. It's stunning.
Yeah, absolutely, Wade. And I also just wanted to include an image of a typical ensuite that you would get in your cabin, because again, you can just see the kind of standard that Amadeus are offering, and it really is a lovely product. So I'll just delve into the ships a little bit further and talk through the decks. So we have 3 passenger decks and then a sun deck. The cabins with the window are all on the bottom deck, the Hayden deck. The Strauss deck, which is the middle deck, has all French balconies. And then on Mozart deck, we have the suites in the centre and then other French balconies at the back. On the sun deck, on some vessels, we do have a pool. It is ship dependent, so it isn't across the whole fleet. But in terms of the public areas on board, we have the main restaurant. There's one restaurant that seats all guests. and it's big enough to have everyone dining at the same time. We've got the panorama bar, which is a great space to go after your evening meal, enjoy a drink, enjoy some views, enjoy a little bit of evening entertainment. And we've then got kind of two other areas that you can relax in. We've got Cafe Vienna, which is a smaller area just behind reception that will have comfortable seating and an area to get drinks, and again to just sit and relax. Less views than the panorama bar, but it's still a nice cozy quiet area. And then right at the back, on most of our ships, we have what we call our Amadeus Club, which again, it's just a nice comfortable seating area to take in the views, to sit down with something to eat or drink, and you have all of the views from the windows at the back of the vessel. And it's worth mentioning as well that we do have a lift on board, but it does only facilitate the 3 passenger decks. So you can go from Haydn deck, Strauss deck and Mozart deck, but it doesn't go up to the sun deck. So with regards to guests who have mobility needs, it really is a case of just speaking to us, and we can talk to you on a case-by-case basis to see what we think is suitable or what we'd recommend. We would always recommend guests can at least manage steps, because, as I say, there may be cases where they would need to be able to use the stairs up to the sun deck for disembarkation, because some of the river cruise ships more next to each other in docking locations, but certainly busy ones like Amsterdam, and you may have to go over sun decks to get off via other river cruise ships as well. So again, I wanted to make this really visual so that you could get a feel for what it's like on board. So here are some of the locations that I just spoke about. So bottom left, we have a typical kind of restaurant shot. We've got top left, looking at the bar in the panorama bar, but the other side of that, you'd have windows all the way around and really, really fantastic views. The top right image is the Cafe Vienna area. And then the bottom right is the Amadeus Club. So again, you can just get a feel for the sense of home. They're cozy, but quite luxurious feel, and that's what I feel like you get from the ships.
Absolutely, that's what I absolutely love about it. It's not stuffy. It's not kind of highbrow. It's 5-star and it's lovely and it's really polished, but you feel like you could still relax in these spaces.
Yeah, really. You could lose a whole afternoon just with a drink, looking out the window, watching the world go by.
I definitely could, yes.
And then on to some of the other internal spaces and facilities that we have on board. So we have a fitness room. So if you're wanting to counterbalance all the food that you're eating, you do have some really good quality machines in the fitness room. Always quiet whenever I've been on board. Honestly, they're not full. So you tend to always be able to get in and use it and make the most of that. So that's really lovely. There's a massage room where you can book and pay for treatments in there. We've got the image here of our only infinity pool on the Amadeus Provence, which is our ship that sails on the Rhone and Saône. That's one of my favourite ships. I have a little soft spot for it because I was there at the christening, and she is just a really beautiful one-off in the fleet because she is designed slightly differently because of the river that she sails on. But I do love the infinity pool. It's absolutely beautiful. And then we've got a typical sun deck space for you to enjoy. Now, if you think about your clients and their onboard experience, again, if you've got clients who do have a tight budget and are thinking about going for that lower grade entry cabin, you can really explain that there are so many areas on the ship that they can enjoy views and be in and amongst, up on sun deck, you've literally got 360-degree views, and it's absolutely wonderful. So you can really explain to your customers that actually, if you don't think you're the kind of customer that's going to be spending a lot of time in your cabin and you would rather, use the other spaces on board, there's a lot on offer for guests to enjoy great views still. So the sun deck being one of them. And then we've also got one of our ships here with a pool. So I mentioned previously, not all of the ships have pools. Most of them do. And typically they would look like that top right image. It's only the Amadeus Provence that has this beautiful infinity one at the back, which is very nice. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's included. We've already touched on food slightly, but in terms of inclusions for your guests, what they're paying for, they get all of their meals. So it's full board. That includes breakfast, lunch and dinner, but it also includes extra things like an early riser's breakfast, an afternoon tea, snack time. You don't go hungry, that is for sure. There is always something to be had. And also on some of the excursions, if clients are booking onto them, there might be even some tastings or some things when you're ashore as well. We also provide beer, wine and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. So although it's not an all-inclusive experience, your guests are getting those drinks with mealtime. So it just adds to the value of what they're paying for. You also have a tea and coffee station that guests can help themselves to 24 hours a day, bottled water that they get in their cabin. And there is the welcome dinner with cocktail reception. And then they also have a captain's gala dinner. And actually, to just touch on dress code on board, because that question sometimes can come up, it is still quite casual on board in terms of it's no black tie attire. We would say smart casual. For dinner, people might dress up a little bit more for the captain's gala dinner, but it still wouldn't be, like a full suit or anything like that, which is nice. It's a nice kind of relaxed atmosphere on board when it comes to clothing attire. So inclusions, I've touched on the fact that we have the fitness room already, and also the fact that we have a fleet of onboard bicycles. So these can be used either as part of an excursion, like a tour that we do by bike, or they can just be used independently. So if guests want to just take them out and go for a ride, they absolutely can. And on the Rhine and Danube, we also have a number of e-bikes. So that's really nice. You can go that little bit further. On all excursions, you'll be provided with an audio system so that you can hear the tour guide. You don't need to be, really close to them to be able to hear what's going on. You can have your own space, take it at your own pace and still hear what's going on. The ship has Wi-Fi included throughout. We have a number of kind of entertainment things included on board. So of an evening, there'll be the resident musicians that are playing piano, but we also then tailor the programme to the destinations we're in. So we then might bring on local performers to come on board for the night and do performances. So you really do get a feel for each of the destinations that you're in. We also might have our chefs doing cooking demonstrations. There might be lectures. And we also have what we call our Amadeus experience, which are onboard experiences such as shanty choirs on board, music of the Rhine, an evening cruise with folklore show and waltz lessons on board, which sounds fantastic. We have a Bavarian evening on board and live performances by local musicians and singers on board. So these are all included in as part of your cruise experience.
I think it's brilliant, as you were saying, about incorporating local talent, because I know that also that feeds into the culinary experience at times as well. I know they try, to incorporate the local foods and cuisines and things like that. And I think that's such a brilliant, authentic experience rather than just gliding through these countries and just kind of seeing them briefly. You're really getting to experience these places and having a very authentic experience.
Yeah, and these tend to be the things that people really stick out from their holiday and give them the fond memories. And yeah, I know I've had many times on board where I've absolutely been in awe of the singers on board, and it just really makes for a memorable holiday, really. Again, I've touched on the excursions and about how we operate a tailored excursion offering. There are a number of ways guests can add on excursions. We have individual excursions that can be just booked ad hoc, but we also have a number of excursion packages that we've kind of paired together, anything from kind of 3 or 4 up to numerous excursions at a discounted rate if they want to book numerous excursions and they book them in advance. The details of that can all be found on our website, but equally we can help you and guide you with that at the time of booking and discuss with you what is available. But excursions are really, really good value because they start from as little as £16 per person. So depending on what kind of excursion experience, obviously the prices can vary, but they are not extortionate. They are very, very well priced. And as I say, if you go for one of the excursion packages, you do get a 15% saving on those if booked in advance. Something that is a highlight as part of our excursion offerings, we have 2 excursion levels, Amadeus Active and Amadeus Taste. So with Amadeus Active, this is some examples of these type of excursions are things like a cycle tour in Vienna along the famous Danube cycle path, hiking in Linz, and then we've also got in on Amadeus Taste, we have things like where you're trying local delicacies or wines and things like that. So we have the Krems winery visit, we have Moselle wine tasting, we have Riedersheim wine tasting, we have a visit to a truffle farm and tasting. So there are lots of things on offer that just delve a little bit further into the local experience and delicacies of the areas. Another thing to mention, actually, which I think is quite important for those guests who potentially want to know the kind of level of walking involved on excursions, all of our excursions are graded so that guests can understand how long the walk is or how steep or hilly or it might be, because these little European destinations sometimes aren't the easiest, cobbled streets and things like that. But we have graded all of our excursions so that your customers can be well informed in advance to know what they might be capable of joining, and it's between 1 and 5. So, and it gives a description on each excursion exactly what would be involved.
Perfect.
And I just wanted to finish on this slide here to just tell you some of the ways in which we can work with you and we can help support you with your Amadeus sales. So we have a dedicated team in the UK. So all of our business development team are dotted around the UK, and we can get you in touch with them. They can come and do training. They can come and help you with events and support you with growing your Amadeus sales. If you are a business that has a lot of group opportunities, again, Amadeus is a great operator to consider, because there are lots of benefits to taking a group with Amadeus. So please do get in touch with us if you have any group requests. We'd be more than happy to look at that. Tailor-made cruises. So if you think about your clients and how unique they are, we absolutely understand that, and we can make each Amadeus trip as unique as your client. We can really tailor it to exactly their needs. So it's a really good opportunity for you, because we can satisfy all your clients' needs, and as well as you earn great commission opportunities. So you'll earn commission on everything you sell with us as a whole package, and we also often have incentives running at different times and fan trip opportunities. So it's always worth being on our agent portal, having a look at what incentives we've got, because there's often earning opportunities for you as travel agents.
Fantastic. Well, that's amazing. I mean, instantly, obviously, I know this product well myself, but there's so much to delve into and so much to learn, and I just can't get enough of how beautiful these ships are. That's what I always come back to. They're absolutely stunning ships. Well, thank you so much, Brooke, for joining us, and
thank you for having me, Wade.
Lending us your knowledge, and I'm sure everyone who's watched has taken a lot away from this. As Brooke mentioned, we do have a dedicated business development team dotted all over the country. So if you do want to know anything else about Amadeus, if you'd like to organise training or just have a cup of tea in the chat, they're always around. They're always happy to pop in and discuss further opportunities. So please be sure to get in touch. The contact details will be here, there, somewhere around this video. But until next time, thank you for tuning in, and happy holidays.